they just offered 10 grand for people to give up their seats.
10 grand?
Yeah, 10 grand they paid to bribe somebody. But the fact that and it wasn't travel vouchers. They apparently cut them a check. It was cash, you know.
And reported it to the IRS because it was over $10,000 limit.
Hey, tax accountants out there.
Oh, yes, it is. That's got to be taxable.
Yeah.
It's income.
Well, but if it's a personal ticket, but yeah, I guess it would be. I guess
maybe less than the original ticket price, but anyway.
Yeah. And then it goes on to talk about Simon, you know, coming up with this idea. And the thing is, Simon came up with this idea after talking to a United flight attendant who was, and this was in the 60s, so she would have been known as a stewardess, but she was explaining the airline's overbooked. They do it on purpose because people make multiple reservations to make sure they get a flight. And she said, our rules say kick off military and elderly people because they're the least likely to resist.
To complain, To
complain and resist, like the guy they dragged off the plane. Simon shaving the next morning, he goes, well, why do they do that? Why don't they just do this? And, you know, he had no data, nothing. Of course, nobody would let him try it. FAA said, this is nuts. The airlines denied they overbooked. He finally got a couple gates to try it. And it's like, oh my God, this works. And that's why you get bumped off an airplane with free flights.
So, you willingly to go off the airplane.
Yeah,
you don't get bumped. I mean, they do bump people too. They're just like, sorry, you're gone.
They do. But I figure the reason they're paying 10 grand is probably because they had a pilot maybe deadheading that had to be where a flight was.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think that they didn't do this because there was somebody paying $15,000 to be on the flight, right?
Yeah. Because it was Delta. And that's not a $15,000 flight from GRR to MSP anyway.
Even last minute.
Yeah, it had to be something. It had to be a deadhead, I think, or maybe whatever. And then we talked about this with somebody, I think from your high school, but this city Yi Swang in China on April 19th is going to have humanoid robots run alongside humans in their half marathon